Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your May 2020 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. So I was getting in the mood, I lit some sage, and then I saw my turquoise earrings from India, and I said, I'm going to put those on because I actually had my ears pierced when I was probably about 6 months old. And it's a Hispanic thing. My mother is from Puerto Rico. And I've just seen other babies from various countries who, get their ears pierced. Some people think, oh my God, that's terrible, but it's cultural, actually. And I've seen it, I don't know about Mexico, but it just seems to be a thing. And so I usually wear earrings, and in the last several months, I just didn't have a pair around that I could find, so it's kind of like, and these earrings are turquoise, so I think that's Sadges color, or stone. And I definitely love turquoise. I love like Native American type of types of jewelry, like earrings with turquoise or necklaces. So, in case you were wondering about all of that. So let's see what. Oh, okay. See, I'm a Sag too, obviously. So I'm happy that this is the. I was just about to say, let's see what May brings, and I get the Nine of Cups as a central theme. Isn't that wonderful? I hope my fellow Sagittarians, gosh, this is great. I'm liking it so far. I'm liking it so far. So, yes, and I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I feel. Oh wow, this is great. And I'm not one of those people. Sometimes I've watched readers and they really, ham it up and go, wow. Oh my God, you have the best cards. I don't usually do that if you've watched me before. This is not a shtick. But, we're in this weird phase. I'm recording this in April. And just like, okay, what is the future going to bring? And, this is a general reading for everybody who's a Sagittarian. But I have to believe that there is something that's going to be like a turnaround. If you've been feeling like maybe not everything is horrible, but that it's just kind of blah. We have as the heart of the matter the Nine of Cups, wish fulfillment. And one thing I do want to say is that in May, if I look at the transits in May, and I did Sadges transits for May, so check out my channel for the astrology. But the North Node is going into Gemini. And as a matter of fact, I probably should do a separate reading for all the signs on the North Node. I think I'll do that. I'll start that today because that's important. These are 18-month cycles and it's going to be, the South Node is going to be in Sagittarius. So how does that affect us? Well, I'll get into that in a separate video, but the South Node is our karmic past. So even in this lifetime, if you notice you have certain patterns, and this would relate since there's a conjunction with the Sun, and there won't be an exact or an official conjunction until the North Node is within a certain degrees close to your Sun. And I think it's a pretty tight orb because I think it's like the moon, so it probably is only like 2 degrees or 3 degrees. So it's going to enter Sagittarius at 29 degrees. So unless you're one of those late degree Sages, it's not going to hit you officially, but it will be in the sign. So that in general for all Sages, the way that you have approached, the way that you even view yourself, because the Sun can be your sense of self, has to be looked at, and not to just rest on your laurels. It's not about, oh, it's bad luck to be like, how you've always been. It's just that life is supposed to be about expansion, supposedly. And if we keep doing the same things, not only do we keep getting the same things, but we also don't explore new possibilities. So I have a feeling that this isn't going to be a big deal for a lot of Sadges, because we tend to be expansive, whether we like it or not. We tend to go off into different on different tangents, like I'm probably doing right now. So I'm going to bring it back to this, but I just want to say that when I mentioned the South Node, it was to say that we're having a lot of activity and direct hits in starting this year and next year as well, because then we're having the eclipses, which are tied to the nodes. And yeah, so that's going to be, and in June, we're actually having a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. So even a month earlier, this may be change that you experience. And it's, from the looks of it, it could be very good change. It could be like something that you've wanted coming to fruition. The lunar eclipse can be that. Like it's almost like you wanted something for many years, and then all of a sudden it wasn't coming in increments. It just comes in a big flood. And, there's no resistance to it coming to you, in other words. In the past position, we have, and by the way, you could say the same about the new moon, that is kind of like the new beginnings, but the full moon is like the harvest. So to me, even though sometimes the lunar eclipse is talking about eclipsing something out of your life, I think it doesn't always work that way. I think it could be something coming to fruition in a big way. In the past position, we have the Hermit. I think I got this for Sag before, and so you may have been called to really look at your life and what has been happening, and reflect on it, because we've had things occur that may have not felt like we got what we were supposed to get, like having Jupiter in Sagittarius, for instance. If you were one of those people like me that was saying, okay, this was supposed to be so great. But you know what? This is the funny thing. I mean, it's Jupiter is a philosophical planet. I mean, the ninth house is not an earth house. It's a house of the mind. So it might have been wisdom that you accrued during that time. And the Hermit certainly is searching for wisdom, searching for it shows the star, searching for their own inner light. And perhaps for some Sages, you had to break away from the pack. As a matter of fact, I have this card right here as the higher message. And this is like friends and things like this. But even in the upright position, this can mean that you had to kind of break away from other people's mindsets that may have influenced you if you were hanging out with a certain group of people, and you had to, the Hermit is about being alone, so it's not about socializing, and that may have garnered you the wisdom and maybe the courage to go after something that has produced what the Nine of Cups has produced. And by the way, even though I'm labeling this for May, just keep this open-ended, because some of these things, I've had people say, oh, this happened to me last year, or something weird like that. And that's okay, because this is just about, there is no such thing as time. So I have to write something down. You could be watching in April. This could be something that happens the last week in April, for all I know. But I feel like it's from your efforts, and I feel like you may have had to distance yourself from certain people, especially with the Three of Cups, friends or partying situations. That may have been a bad influence. Or even just like, as I said before, like other people's attitudes. Sagittarius like to pride themselves on being so independent and, blah, blah, blah. But, we are human, and we are capable of subtly being influenced by other people. And, they always talk about the company you keep. The Three of Cups can also be, this is a celebration. I would even say as a spiritual card that your crossed over loved ones are celebrating this for you. Maybe they even had a hand in it, who knows? But they, maybe they think that you've been brave, that you've endured a lot. And yeah, so interesting. What crosses you is the Queen of Pentacles. When I saw this, I was like, okay, if you get money, because Jupiter is connected to the Nine of Cups. I think it might be Jupiter in Pisces, not sure. But anyway, and Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, so that would be a double Jupiter. But if you get money, that could mean that if you're the typical Sag, it leaves your hands as soon as it gets in them. So the Queen of Pentacles can be a spendthrift. Be mindful and respectful with your money. Don't be, fear-based and stingy, but be mindful of that. You may want to treat yourself. This can be, with the Queen of Pentacles, a lot of luxury, or perhaps just this buying things that you don't really need or care about, just to have that experience of being able to spend money like it's water. And so really bask in the glow of whatever this is, but don't be overly indulgent. What's coming in is represented by the World. This is what I'm talking about. The World is the last card of the Major Arcana. So endings, tying things up, graduation day. Learning that lesson, the end of a cycle. And that's, the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on the 5th of June. And even before, you may feel those endings in May. And that's great. So prepare, because I'm doing this before that eclipse, use the month of May as a way to look at what you can do for yourself in terms of, cutting ties with things that are over, fully cutting ties. I keep thinking of a phrase. What's that phrase like, tying up loose ends? That's what I meant. I knew it had something to do with ties. So doing something like that. If you feel like there's some area of your life that is still kind of tenuous, don't feed that area. If you're like in an on-again, off-again relationship, you might want to consider just letting it go. If you know that it doesn't really have a chance, then why not let it go? You might think, well, I just want to have somebody waiting in the wings. No. Excuse me. Nature abhors a vacuum. So if you're looking for some sort of new situation to come in, make space for it. Actually, speaking of, making space for things, on May 22nd, there will be a new moon in Gemini. I think at 2 degrees of Gemini. And that's the opposite sign of Sag, and that's the 7th house. Well, for some people it'll be the 6th house, but no, I think, yeah, for most people it's going to actually be in their 6th house. So maybe we could look to maybe this is what we're talking about. Around the time of the summer solstice, on June 21st, there's going to be a solar eclipse. There's still eclipses in Cancer and Capricorn this year. And there's going to be one on June 21st at 0 degrees of Cancer. So for the vast majority of Sagittarians, this will fall in your 7th house of committed partnership. So you have a couple of months to kind of lay the groundwork if you're looking for new love. Maybe you already have somebody in mind. The Nine of Cups is kind of like that. Like if this is a relationship, you already are like, maybe you're madly in love with this person, but you haven't declared it. But you know it's a done deal. It just is a matter of time. I don't know. But in any case, it's really cool. But the World card definitely, you know, think of the month of May of kind of letting go of things, and also after the lunar eclipse. That might, and who knows, maybe that's what the World card is for more of the month of June than the month of May, where you're just letting go of things. That's certainly indicated. And the outcome, the Three of Wands. This is one of my favorite minor arcana cards. This is a card of expansion, maybe even travel. Oh, that's the World card, could be travel too. Got to mention that. But you see, in this particular deck, they have the mountains. The mountains represent, you know, climbing new heights. Also, we could say adventure, doing things that you haven't done, or seeing new sights. But just in we have 2 3s in this reading. Oh, you know what's interesting? I just noticed. I don't always pay attention to the numbers, but I do like numerology. We have 2 9s, and we have 2 3s. Both odd numbers. And the number 9 is the number of the light worker, the artist, the humanitarian. And there's also, I think, you know, and Sag rules the 9th house, so there's going to be that connection with the philosophical. Number 3, and we think of the 3rd house as Gemini, but the number 3 is about abundance. You think of the major arcana. The Empress is number 3, so expansion. With Wands, there's the fire. It's the fire element, so it's Sadges element, and that sense of enthusiasm. I think that, you know, if you felt 2020 has been quite an intense year. I think it's safe to say. So Sadges like being philosophical, but we want to be playful. We do not want to be saddled down with heavy emotions. So this is much more freeing. I think that this is much more of a sense of coming out of that hermit stage and kind of playing with life. And to me, the Three of Wands is all about the joy of being alive, the joy of creating. Number 3 is very creative. And even with the Three of Cups, because cups are about water, and water is creative too. So this kind of thing can be very exhilarating for Sag in general. So in any case, that's what I have for you, Sag. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personal reading, most of my readings are astrology based. That's why I injected so much into these readings, because that's what my first passion has always been astrology. Please visit me at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.